How are you guys today? It is Thursday, January 12th. It's just about 3 minutes to 10 on the East Coast Standard Time. So we are counting down the hour until the preliminary hearing in the Idaho for uh, quadruple homicide. It's just so horrifying. So I'm not expecting that we're really going to learn anything today other than the schedule for when hearings happen and when the trial is scheduled for. I'm not thinking we're going to learn any new information, but you just never know. Hey, Sherry, good morning. Thanks for saying hi. So I know my sound is working and everything. Speaking of which, I was on a live last night with CNY Family. Hey, Phantasmic Ether. And CNY Family did a very long live about the Ms. Kylie Rodney case last night. And I don't know. I don't know if it's the handbrick effect, the hamburglar effect, or what. But after a couple of hours, the chat was disabled, but then it came back. So it seems like there's always some major technical difficulties when people are covering certain cases, right? So we've got Sherry, we got Phantasmic Ether, we got Pixie Knickers, a bucket of coffee, best way to start the day. Hey, Susan. So I wanted to go over the statements that some of the parents, hey, Sifa, good morning, how are you? Some of the parents of the unalived students have made some really heartfelt public statements the last couple of days. So I wanted to read those off of my cell phone for you guys in case you haven't heard them yet. And I used a photograph of Ethan Chapin and his twin triplets, Mazzy and Hunter. So when they were really little, they looked like they were about 4, maybe 5 years old. And Sifa says, I'm good. How about you? Which you remind me to say the Captain Kirk thing. Hey, people, what's good? What's good? So I think it's really good that they're having a hearing this morning. I think it's really good for the case and for the families to get some order to the chaos, to get some stability and routine, and to know what to expect and to have a schedule. Did you get to see the video our 22 cents put out last night? No, not yet, Phantasmic Ether. I had been looking for it, but I was too early. So I don't know when he came on. If you want to share something about it, that would be more than welcome. Let me just start out with my little disclaimer. Everything I say is simply my opinion, simply for the sake of conversation and hoping to open up a discussion, hoping to educate and be educated. And it is made specifically for the YouTube platform, which is an entertainment platform. So I always like to cover entertainment in my spiel, even though that's kind of not my thing. It's just part of the YouTube platform, as we all know. I say it again and again every single day. Honey Rose, what time is the hearing? It is in 1 hour exactly. It's 10 a.m. right now, East Coast Standard Time. They in Idaho are on West Coast time. So that would be 7 a.m. there right now. And they scheduled it to start at 8 o'clock. So I'm sure it'll be, well, I think it would be live streamed. I don't know. You just never know how things are going to go, like what they'll decide is okay and not okay. So, some good news. Can we start with some good news? Hey, Maud, thank you for being here. How about we start with some super good news? Damar Hamlin was discharged from the hospital yesterday. The football safety from the Buffalo Bills who had the heart attack about, what was it, a week ago? My goodness, how phenomenal is that? So hooray for Damar Hamlin. I know he's so grateful to be alive. He's so grateful for everybody's prayers across the country. So Steve Gonsalves and Ethan's mother, Stacy Wells Chapin, have both put out public statements. And I would love to share those with you right off the bat. Um, you may have heard them already, you may not have. So I apologize for my low tech, but what I do is I take screenshots of things and then I take it from there. So this was what Steve Gonzalez said, and this is directed to the criminal defendant's family. Um, I have no ill will towards you. I'm gonna highlight this, what my mod just said. Thrilled he keeps getting better. Pin message. Okay. Um, I have no ill will towards you. You have a baby, you have a family, you have these kids. You did your best. Oh, okay. This is interesting because it changes persona, but that's all right. His wife shares the same job responsibilities as my wife. It's really weird. Most people don't know that. But my wife teaches at a school, so does she. They actually have the same certificate of learning. I could see them as a family that unfortunately had a child that made some poor decisions, very poor decisions. It's one way to put it, huh? Maybe they've seen some red flags they probably should have brought up, but I don't know that. So I have no ill will for them. And I really feel bad for them. I really do. If one of my children put me in that situation, I would do like what they did. That's a funny sentence, but that's cool. He's probably actually talking, not writing that. I would do like what they did. I would love them, but I would be very sorrowful, and I don't know how I would deal with that. That's a different kind of pain than what I'm dealing with today. So, what a remarkable man. I mean, so much valor, so much honor and respect, even in his worst anguish and pain. Oh, Pixie Knickers got her Kylie ornament. Woohoo! That is so cool. Replace pinned message. Oh, I'm excited. I didn't send it to you. Patty Cakes is the person who made them. And so she had a few extra and she contacted me to see if I knew anybody that wanted them. So I did my little giveaway and let her send them. So I'm so excited. Patty Cakes is so sweet to have done that for Kylie and for us. Okay, so let me read the rest of what Pixie Knickers wrote. I'm so excited. I love it and will cherish it. I'm going to take a picture of me with it when I'm feeling better with makeup. I got sick last night, so I'm not feeling up to it at the moment. Oh, I'm so sorry that you're feeling sick. That's no fun. I hate being sick. And Sherry Urban says, do you still have my ornament? Sherry, send me your address again, please, and I will forward it to Patty Cakes because I don't know the status. So if you want to just shoot me an email with your address, you got my email, correct? It's justice, ATOOZ at gmail.com. Maybe my mod can put it up there too, so anybody can have it that wants it. So yeah, I love getting emails from you guys. I apologize that I do not always respond, but I do always read them. And same with the comments in the lives. You know, we have our chat and then we have the comments afterwards. And when people are watching it not live, and I try to read every single one of those and I try to respond when I can. So there was something about the comments. Oh, yesterday in the live, there were just a couple of things I felt like I needed to edit out, just a couple of small, stupid little errors. And so, as you guys know, when I do that, I lose all the comments up to that point. And so I made mention of that and I pinned that. And that's just how I'm going to deal with it when I feel like I need to edit something. I really try not to edit for a few reasons, that being one of them. It's also extremely time consuming. And there's so much that I want to do with my channel, like reading everybody's comments and responding if I can. So thank you guys for all of your comments and comments in the chat. I'm going to try to read what I can of your comments. I wanted to also read what Stacy Wells Chapin posted on Facebook, so a public statement for everyone. I would imagine that it's really healing for them to just put some words on paper or online just to try to communicate what's going on inside of themselves with the rest of the world. Um, I do want to mention that as far as the criminal defendant goes and all this news coming out about his posts from many years ago when he was as young as 14, and he joined some kind of Facebook group that was for people that suffered from visual snow. And I'm not doubting that he had visual snow. I'm not doubting that was real for him. Um, I would imagine that some of that can come with being on the computer too much. I think that there's a lot of problems that can come with being on the computer too much, especially when you're developing as a child. So I don't know anything about his medical condition. I honestly had never heard of that condition, visual snow, until like yesterday or the day before. But listening to what he wrote in some of the YouTube videos that I've watched, and all these other content creators reading it out loud, he honestly, to me, sounds like a typical neurotic mess, for lack of more clinical terminology. I mean, it's sort of what Freud put everybody in the basket of neurotic neuroses. And part of being healthy, especially with your mental health, is just relaxing, just like meditating, just not overthinking things. And I honestly, in my professional experience, I don't buy from what he wrote on Facebook that he was suffering a mental illness other than being, pardon my French, a neurotic asshole. And, trying to connect with people in a group because he didn't know how to make friends. So he thought that he could get into this visual snow online support group and connect with people that way. And it doesn't sound like he did a good job at all. I mean, it didn't sound like he connected with anybody. Um, so I'm so excited that you got your ornament pixie knickers. Phantasmic Ether says, how do you foresee the poop burger bleeding today? Oh my goodness. I just have to highlight that because of your emojis. That's hilarious. Um, yeah, I started out by saying right at the outset of this video, but I don't mind repeating it at all. I don't think we're going to get anything other than a schedule for upcoming hearings. It is just, the initial court proceeding, the arraignment. And so that's what an arraignment is. It's just setting up the schedule of like discovery and the trial and all that. So it's possible we'll get something, but I don't think we're going to get anything other than a schedule. That's just my opinion. And I already went through all of that. Everything I say is simply my opinion for the sake of opening up this discussion. So let me get on to Ethan Chapin's mother's statement from Facebook, Stacy Wells, and then we'll get on into our discussion. More better, as I like to say. And so here's that start. Okay, so it starts with this. This was on Facebook yesterday, I think. Stacy Wells Chapin. We've spent the last 8 weeks, besides the obvious, focused on Maisie and Hunter. Maisie and Hunter. Cards, talks, walks, hikes, tears, you name it. Yesterday, we successfully dropped them off back at the University of Idaho. I can't imagine. Hunter was very glad to be back at the fraternity, and Maisie was warming up to the idea, but it was so good to hear all of the girls squeal with delight upon seeing her. It did this mama's heart good to hear it. The support from the University of Idaho and the Moscow Police Department, did I say it right? Moscow Police Department, and the Idaho State Patrol, or Idaho State Police, it's like the initials, has been profound. Maisie and Hunter are rock stars, and we couldn't be more proud of them. Their job now is just be kids. Start where they left off, keep goals and aspirations in mind. For an update, anything Ethan had is now frozen with the defense. For us, it involves two vehicles. That's got to be rough. I mean, not as rough as losing your kid, of course, but having two vehicles not in your possession. E's belongings, I'm sure that's Ethan's belongings, and a nice set of golf clubs. We've met with prosecutors, handled media inquiries, hopefully respectfully, managed, grieved, talk, and continue to try and process our new normal. However, nothing has changed. We spend no time being angry. That would be energy not well spent, and it still wouldn't change the outcome. We have to look ahead. We did a great job. We still do a great job. And as always, we are eternally grateful to so many of you. We can't possibly reply to all of your notes, but we read them all, and your kindness and support means the world to us. And then they put a quote from Nicholas Wolterstorff. The quote is, "And I shall allow the memories to prod me into doing better with all those still living." So Jim and Stacy are the Chapin parents. I don't know if they have other kids other than the triplets, but one thing that I find important in discussing deceased family members, especially children, is that, and I've learned this as a counselor working with people with unalived family members, children especially, you do not refer to them as, like, if you ask, let's say that these triplets are the only kids that the parents have, you do not expect them to say that they only have two kids. They have three kids. They have two surviving children and one deceased. So just to put that out there for anybody who's not familiar, that's the proper terminology. So the triplets are still triplets. They still have, Maisie still has two brothers. One survived, one unalived. And Hunter has one brother, one sister. One brother who is not with us anymore, and one sister who is, thankfully. So just so you guys know, that's kind of the proper etiquette. I think it's important, especially with parents, because like for Xana's parents, she's an only child. Or no, Maddie's an only child, Madison. They're still parents. They still have a child. Unfortunately, their child is no longer with us, but they are still parents. They still have a daughter. They will always have a daughter. Just like when our parents pass away, they're still our parents. They will always be our parents and our grandparents. We still have them. They're just our ancestors now. So I hadn't really thought about that in the context of like children being ancestors in that definition, just as far as being deceased. So let me read a few of these. When people plead guilty, there's no need for a trial. So the fact that there is one says more than likely he's going with the not guilty stance and the full trial will proceed. Correct. Good point, Sifa. And anybody who does not know, Sifa has his own channel, and it's an excellent channel. So I highly recommend it, especially if you want to read the birth certificate of Ms. Kylie Rodney. He ordered that himself, and he put it on his YouTube channel. So check out Sifa, sub over there if you feel like it. And I'll just throw in right now here, please hit that like button, subscribe, and share if you feel moved. It's always appreciated. I appreciate you guys so much. So I'm excited to get on with this live as we get closer, 45 minutes, slightly under 45 minutes away from this hearing. Okay, so right, he is most likely going to plead not guilty. Typically, that's what criminals do. And that is typically what defense attorneys will advise, is to plead not guilty. Let me tell you a little story. I have a friend who got into some trouble, and she's actually been married to a police officer her entire life. So she got into a situation, it wasn't good. She got arrested, and she spent like an hour in jail. But when she showed up for her first hearing, the judge asked her, "How do you plead?" And she said, "Guilty, Your Honor." And he said, "You mean not guilty?" He wrote it down as not guilty, because you kind of have to take it to a lesser charge if you can. And for her, she had lived her whole life with no record at all. And this was a serious situation that was going to be going on her record. And he didn't want this person to have that serious of a charge when he understood that this person was not a criminal. I mean, they really are good to people that are good citizens. I want to say law enforcement and the court system tries to treat citizens with the utmost respect. When people are criminals, career criminals, they still treat them with the utmost respect, in my experience, because that's how our system is designed. Innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. So let me see. I might have missed a couple of things here. CD's writing about VS seems to be around his druggy days, in my opinion. Druggy, trip, and get paranoid. Criminal defendant's writings about VS. The visual snow. Oh, it gets so confusing, all these freaking initials. Sorry. The criminal defendant writing about his visual snow seems to be around his druggy days, in my opinion. Druggies, trip, and get paranoid. And the visual snow thing, I think, started at about 14. And then he may have started his experimenting or addiction to heroin in 10th grade, which would probably be more like 15 or even 16. So yeah, I mean, typically with any drugs or alcohol, we're self-medicating, right? And yeah, it sounds like he's got extreme mental disturbance, emotional disturbance, lack of empathy. I mean, that's one of the worst attributes to have as a human, in my humble opinion. Hi, Caleb Lee. Good morning, Xena and Justice Warriors. Here, I'm going to go ahead and highlight that one, the Annie Ruler that we were just talking about. And Sifa says, thank you for mentioning that. I had someone in my comment section yesterday cross a line when it comes to the topic of the death of a child. Oh, I am so sorry. Nobody should have to experience the death of a child for any reason whatsoever. It's just literally against the laws of nature. Literally against the laws of nature. Like, dealing with anybody's death is rough. Okay, let's see. Where are we? Yeah, highlight that one. How annoying. Now I'm going to have to go look at your thing and look at those comments. I don't know if you deleted it or just, made a reply or none of that. Just put a thumbs down, or I don't know how you handled it. I try not to delete people's comments, just so you know. That's why I really hate editing a live, because that automatically deletes all the comments, because it's no longer a live. It's a copy of a live. And so I think that YouTube does that just so that nobody is misunderstanding that this is no longer alive, because you edited it. So I try to leave everyone's comments intact. If I really dislike somebody's comment, but not so much that I want to remove it, I usually won't hit the like or the not like. I'll just leave it blank. So that's how I handle it personally. Sometimes I'll do that, and then I'll make a response, and I'll just give my honest response. And yeah, you're welcome for the shout out, Sifa. Thank you for your channel and your work. I forget how long you've had your channel. It's new, right? It's pretty new. Um, Caleb Lee says, welcome back, Sifa, and good morning, Pixie Knickers. Annie Ruler says, doubt a plea again has been offered yet. This is like a dance waiting to see what each is willing to do, in my opinion. Right. And yeah, replace pinned message. Pixie Knickers is saying hello to everybody. So, yeah, I have mentioned to you guys that I want to keep the lives on the shorter side. We're at 25 minutes, so we'll just go a few more minutes. Just because I don't want to overwhelm myself, and I love doing them, and I could easily do like a 60-minute plus live twice a day, but then it's hard to get all the other things done that I need to get done. So I appreciate you guys so much, but we'll do this live, and then we'll pick up later this afternoon. Let's say at about 1 or 1:30. Um, and then we can discuss what happens in this hearing that's coming up in 38 minutes. We're not eager, are we? Yes, Pixie Knicker says, I'm curious too. Did you remove the comment? And no, he did not. He says, I don't like to delete comments. I keep it respectful, and things did de-escalate, but it got a little heavy. Well, that's very intriguing. I'm sure we'll all want to go over to Sifa's channel and check that out and subscribe. So that's awesome. Oh, and just to update you on that Milo and Lily channel that had the 2-minute computer animation of the home at 11:22 and the little stick figure people walking through it with the terrible quadruple homicide. I just hate saying it. When I first looked at their channel yesterday, right after Crime Circus dropped his video, their channel had like 256 or 258, I think, something like that, subs. And then I'm sure most of it's from Crime Circus because he's huge. He's got 200,000 subscribers these days. But I was trying to promote them too. And last night, I think, or this morning, they were getting close to 400 subs already. So, like, almost double. And, even if you want to keep your channel small, there's something super exciting about that process. So, I just, I was feeling a little bit torn, not knowing the person that has the channel. And I think it's one person that those are the pets, Milo and Lily. And it's Van Lifer, and she also has like a computer animation business. So anybody who needs any computer animation, check her out. She did a great job with the 3D or the computer animation of the layout of the floor plan and how the assailant entered his path and exited. And even though it was extremely simplistic and absolutely no gore whatsoever, it was still just chilling to me to watch it. I watched it a few times, of course, and I'm just like, why does it give me the chills like that? And I don't know if you guys have seen it yet in well, I have it on my community page, and then it's also in Drip Drops latest video from yesterday, and then of course they have it on their own page. That's a 2-minute video. If you haven't seen it, it's tremendously sharp, and I think probably very likely exactly what happened. So maybe that's why it's so chilling. Is it for me? It was the first time seeing exactly how it probably happened, exactly the path that this criminal defendant took. So let's see. Yeah, we really don't like to delete comments, do we? We really don't like to block people. I mean, we want freedom of speech. That's what it's all about. We just want people to be intelligent enough and kind enough to be respectful with their freedom of speech, whether it's typing out the comments or saying it in a live, anything. It's like there's a way that you can say things to be kind, and it can be harder to put that nuance into typing, like into a text, but I think it's really important to do our best. And Caleb Lee says, it's good to see the usual people and welcome the new. Beginning of December, I started making videos. Oh, very cool. That's awesome. Yeah, I've just been doing it since September and I love it. I really love this whole creative process. And I really didn't know that it was a creative process, just like anything else. So where are we at? Alistair Grant says, hi, everyone. Missed you all. Yesterday was on a haggis shoot, LOL. I don't even know what that is. Replace pinned message. And yeah, Rhonda R says she sees him pleading not guilty. Absolutely. Caleb Lee, my channel, Caleb Lee says to Sifa, my channel is in the making, but nothing to that high a level. It will be more of a collage of my favorite climb sleuths. Justice for Kylie. Oh, how cool is that? Yeah, there's so many ways you can do it. Everyone's got their own unique style, and I just think it's amazing. It's an amazing process. I really like the short ones, the ones that are just like 2 minutes or 5 minutes. And sometimes I really like the longer ones, like maybe half hour, an hour, even 2 hours. It's hard when they're too long. It's obviously really hard to squeeze them into your day. And I don't like watching things on a faster speed, although sometimes I do, especially if like I'm rewatching my old tapes trying to find something, even though it's so hard to take myself at double speed. But I'm just sharing with you guys that I have found that putting things on 1.25 speed is a nice way to kind of get, more squeezed into the day without it sounding so rushed and without it being difficult to understand what's being said. I think with the double speed, it's really easy to just kind of like not even be able to comprehend what it is that people are saying. And time and a half, I find much more palatable for listening to my own self if I'm reviewing my tapes to try to find something that it's not too fast, it's not too pressured, and it does help make a 1 hour video is only going to be what, 40 minutes then or something like that. I can't do math. I used to. Yeah, something like that. Double speed would be half an hour, time and a half. It would be probably an hour and 40 or probably 45 minutes. Too many numbers. This is what happens when I go with too many numbers. I just have to stop with the numbers. More coffee. Okay. Let's see. We are at 10:29. We're at 32 minutes, 33 minutes. Let's read a few more of your comments and then wrap. Let me get a drink of my tea. Even though it's not as much caffeine as the coffee, it'll still help. Every little bit helps, right? So, yeah, Caleb, I'm excited to see your channel. Yeah, just do it. Just jump in with both feet first. It's kind of hard to break the ice. My friend who helped me set my channel up said to me something when we were setting it up about how you'll get more comfortable talking to the camera. I was like, talking to the camera? It hadn't even really crossed my mind because I'd never done anything like this. And then I was like, comfortable talking to the camera? I don't think that's going to happen. but it has. I'm pretty comfortable talking to you guys, and I really love it. So when I first started doing this, I don't think I watched my own tapes because I didn't know if I'd just like cringe. And then I started reviewing them just to catch myself if I made any mistakes, like with my numbers or my names or dates. I usually do make a mistake, and I like to address it. I try to just address it in the comments. But if it needs to just get clipped out and it's possible to just clip it out, I will, just for simplicity's sake. But I like to leave everything in there just so that it's more authentic, because that's kind of my style. My spiel is just being myself. And that's what I feel like is working for me and for my channel. And I love it that way. So I appreciate you guys for accepting me how I am, warts and all. All right, let's see. Pixie Knicker says, I just subbed to you, Caleb. Didn't know you had a channel. And I've already subbed to you, Sifa. Yay. Awesome. Okay, let's see. Pam Rex says, I'm going to just catch these up real quick. If you search for Kylie Rodney birth certificate, you will find my channel easier. Yeah, sometimes it's really weird trying to find YouTube channels. Like, again, I don't know if it's the Hamburglar effect. I think it might be when it comes to the smaller channels that focus on Ms. Kylie Rodney. Sometimes I can't find them even when I've gone to them many, many times. So, yeah, you just have to keep at it. Pam Rex says, I hope we get to talk about Kylie today because I got more questions. I followed your lead to get out. I got to walk 2 miles plus yesterday. I even drank water, baby steps. That's awesome, Pam. Oh my goodness, that is so cool. It makes such a difference, doesn't it? I did not drink enough water yesterday. I did get exercise, but I would have liked to have gotten more, but every bit helps. Yes. So yeah, let's talk about the Kylie Rodney case before we wrap up. Do you have a specific question? There was a really good, I think it was about a 3-hour live in the end with CNY Family last night. And then I missed the one with our 22 cents. I was trying to tune in, but I didn't catch it. Let's see, I'll catch him today. So Rhonda R says, yeah, I would like to talk about Kylie to have at least a couple questions. It's a wee Scottish joke. Okay, I missed it. I don't know what that is. But yeah, the Scots are funny, right? Thank you, Pixie. Caleb, do you have any videos yet? And where are we at? Hopefully will be an informative channel. However, I love all my true crime family channels and now introducing law and First Amendment auditors on there. Nice. Good morning, Rogue House. Let's see. Sifa says, I've been watching you since Kylie, and it's been really cool to watch your transformation. You've really gotten comfortable with the camera, and I love watching all your growth. Oh my goodness, Sifa, that is so sweet. Thank you kindly. Oh, that just makes me want to tear up. That is so super awesome and nice. You know, I try to make it good. I try to like do these cool decorations without overdoing it. You know, you guys, I'm sure, have noticed I have a tendency to overdo. So I'm always telling myself less is more, right? More is actually less. But yeah, and also with the flowers, I don't want it to look like I'm in a funeral home. And a couple of these days with so many flowers, I'm looking at myself thinking, yeah, I definitely look like I'm sitting in a funeral home. But you know, appropriately so too with these cases, huh? Let's see, where are we at? Marco DM says, as horrific as this whole Kylie case is, I hope she really passed versus being used in trafficking slavery. It's such a tough call. And Sifa says 100%, Marco. You know, I would think that, although not necessarily. People have survived some of the most horrific experiences imaginable, and most of those people are glad that they're still alive. Like in Cleveland, Ohio, you guys probably remember the 3 women who had been abducted and kept in a guy's basement for like 10 years, and they finally escaped, all 3 of them alive. You guys remember that case? I want to say it was like 5 years ago or more. I'll look it up and I'll share some, because those women were young when they were abducted. I think they were roughly about 15, each one of the 3. And he abducted them all in his neighborhood. He was a father. He'd been divorced. One of them was like his daughter's friend or something like that. I think that was the one that he started with. Anyway, what they went through was horrifying. But they have all been successful with their lives since. So as horrific as it is, and to some extent I would agree with that, I really do hope that she's alive. You know, it's a tough call, but I really do hope that she's alive. Oh my goodness. But yeah, trafficking slavery is just so disgusting. Um, Caleb Lee says they hacked Squirrels on Fire again last night. Wow, because I had tuned into Squirrels on Fire and then I was like surfing around doing some other stuff. And then I tried to go back to it and it was already over. And I think it was 2 hours when I looked at it, it was 2 hours long. And I thought, well, that's really short for a Squirrels on Fire live. Okay, she's shoring it up. Because I do know that she was trying to make them quite a bit shorter because hers were going on for 5-10 hours easily and very valuable, but so challenging to try to keep up with it. So, and I'm sure challenging for her too, because, you know, when you're on your channel, you are not going to be eating most likely. You're not going to be going to the bathroom most likely. You're not going to be stretching and getting your exercise and getting your sunshine and fresh air and all those things that we need to do. So, you know, these people who do these really long lives, that's serious, hard labor. And, you know, we all need to take care of ourselves and maybe breaking it up into smaller lives for ourselves as well as the viewers. But I'm not saying that somebody who does a really long live shouldn't. I mean, sometimes you just do what you got to do, right? Got to watch our 22 cents. We brought out all the trolls. Wow, that's fascinating. Sifa says you keep it professional and as neutral as possible, and I have a lot of respect for you because of that. Oh, you are just too sweet, Sifa. You're just killing me with all this niceness. Thank you kindly. Um, you know, as a professional, I have always felt like just be yourself as a professional. And as a person, I really respect professionals that are just themselves, no matter how professional. And as an adult, I just see so many people that don't understand that you can be yourself and be a professional simultaneously. And it's so refreshing. So I really appreciate you saying that because that was kind of my thing when I you know, did a lot of that court work because especially in the courts, people really kind of water themselves down. You know, you're not allowed to have a personality in court. You'll be found in contempt of court. I mean, kind of. There's truth to every joke, right? Okay, let's see. Our 22 cents is coming in hard for Kylie with receipts. That's how he does it. Yeah, that's why I like him. He is hardcore. So yeah, I had mentioned him a couple of times recently that even when he's not putting out new content, I know he's working hard behind the scenes just because that's the kind of person he is. Um, so yeah, let's read a few more of these and then wrap up. Oh my goodness, 21 minutes until the hearing starts, you guys. I feel like it's the New Year's Eve countdown. Yes. Ariel was the abductor, Sifa says. I'm not sure which. Castro, was that the one in Cleveland? Ariel Castro. And one of the three victims is on the Cleveland News. She does like a missing person highlight every Friday. It's pretty amazing. So she has a job at the news station. How cool is that? Like, talk about practicing what you preach. Like, that is way, way cool on that news station that they have an employee that has survived that and is able to make contributions. Speaking of which, that's where John Walsh started, right? With his America's Most Wanted and his own experience with his son Adam getting abducted. I think that was from a Sears with the kid was like 12 and in the Sears department store with his mom, and there were some kids that were hanging out without any parental supervision that kept being making a ruckus and getting in trouble, and the manager kept kicking them out. And then Adam got kind of caught up with that group of kids when they got kicked out one time, and this creep abducted him just like a split second opportunity when he was ushered outside with these other kids. And the mom, I think, thought that he was like hiding in the middle of the those round hangers with the clothes on them all the way around. And so she lost track of him for just a minute, she thought, and it was forever. So I'm just bringing that up for how important it is for all of us to keep track of our children all the freaking time, all the time. You know, I dropped my 18-year-old off at the gym last night, like I so often do. And he didn't come home for a long time because, he sometimes gets a ride home with friends. And of course, I texted him, but I just thought, my goodness, he's at the gym. Like, yeah, he's 18 and he's big and tough, but you just never know. You got to be so careful, so careful. And when I say I dropped him off, he dropped himself off. Like he did the driving. just, just so you know, just in case he's watching this, he'll be like, Mom, I drive myself. I drive you. You don't drop me off. Anyway, let's get on the wrap. Heather Mosier says trafficked women that are set free are still relieved to be alive. It's amazing. Yes, that's a really good comment there, Heather. People, the strength of the human spirit and what people can endure is phenomenal. I think it was just yesterday I was mentioning going through the Holocaust Museum in Washington, D.C., yesterday or the day before, and that I was not expecting the tremendous amount of hope that kind of came with seeing that despicable, horrific, unbelievable pain and suffering up close. I mean, you can literally smell it in the museum. Like one of the most significant parts of that museum to me, and I think for a lot of people, is this one room with a pile of shoes in it. All the shoes are black, all the shoes are dusty, all the shoes are dirty. They are literally shoes from the Holocaust, from the people that died in the gas chambers. And you can smell the musty leather and fabric. And if nothing else made you cry, I think that probably will. Just because it just hits home, you know how our olfactory senses are. But then there's still so much hope in the fact that these people escaped from the Nazis. The Nazis didn't win that war. So people that have survived are magnificent to listen to speak publicly. I don't think there's many of them around anymore, that a lot of them have passed on. But for all of us who have been fortunate enough to have that experience, you know what I'm talking about. It is phenomenal. It's amazing. And I've wanted to share more with you guys about the Warsaw ghetto heroes that, we're kids, we're young people surviving the ghettos in Poland that the Germans made and were forcing them to stay in. And they were, you know, managing to not only survive, but then thrive and fight back when the odds were stacked against them. So to me, it's just the coolest thing in the world. Anyway, let's go ahead and wrap up. And that's a cool thing, what you just said, Rogue House, that this person felt bad for the ones that died before she got back. I hope she's alive. Wouldn't that be cool? I mean, I didn't think there was any hope for Ms. Kylie Rodney being alive. I was losing hope, but I think that there's still the outside possibility. I do. I think that everything we've been fed in that case is utter bullshit, and that there's a reason that is all utter bullshit, because they're trying to hide everything. Everything. Amanda Berry in the Cleveland abduction. Thank you, Marco DM. Excellent. Amanda Berry is the one who has the job with the news, right? Replace pinned message. I can't do the real long ones. Rogue says, I know, it's just crazy. Just trying to do the short ones is rough sometimes, right? And I feel kind of bad that mine get so long. Like here, this one's 50 minutes when I've been saying I'm going to keep it short. So yeah, let's go ahead and wrap it up. 14-minute countdown until the hearing. So if you need to, get some food or go to the restroom or stretch, do what you need to do. I'm sure we're going to be all wanting to watch some live streams, even if it's just of people outside the courtroom. What I heard yesterday is that the grandfather mentioned that Kylie embarrassed their whole family. Was there an insurance scam all along? Wow. Um, I had not heard that comment, but I mean, Kylie was such a beautiful, unique, rare bird. Let me just call her a rare bird. Living in that bizarre, isolated, frozen castle up on Donner Pass. What a wild and unique experience for anybody, but especially a young girl. I think she moved in there when she was like 7, and then she lived there until she was deceased. Um, and she was homeschooled from that whole time. So she probably did not get out much. She was probably not seen around town much. I mean, in the wintertime, they were pretty much snowed in for weeks at a time. Um, and she was a singer and a musician with her cute little violin, her fiddle, her guitar. So I would imagine that everybody in that small community of Truckee knew about her and had seen her perform, and it was probably kind of a fun thing to run into her and watch her grow up over the years. So um, I wonder, though, if she was kind of an embarrassment to the community of Truckee because she was so mysterious and they just didn't understand who she was or where she was coming from with that life experience of being so isolated up on Donner Pass. I mean, that's a weird thing. That whole Donner Pass is a weird thing. And to be in a ice castle like that, even not on Donner Pass, would be a pretty wild and unique upbringing. Um, so thanks so much for all the love, you guys, and I love you back. She went to look at lamps and let him play away from her. Oh, thank you, Roguehouse. You're talking about Adam Walsh, John Walsh's wife. Replace pinned message. She was looking at lamps. Wow. What I always heard. Yeah, and I've heard the mom and the dad speak about it. So craziness. Young white college men victims, Caleb Lee, the smiley face murder. Sifa, let things go because it's not worth it once you lose someone. Cherish the time you have with everyone because you just never know. I know. And one of our 3 dogs passed away on New Year's Day. Please replace pinned message. So that was really rough. That was just 11 days ago, and it's been hard to talk about it. But I'll share more with you guys. I told you that I would, and when it's really fresh, it's even harder to talk about. But yeah, we have 3 cats and now 2 dogs, and it's just really, really hard, especially for the kids. Yeah, life is just precious. Too bad that Truckee Effie did fail Kylie. 22 cent said grandpa is sus. Whoa. See, I've always thought he was like him and the dad were like the last ones to be sus. But I'll catch up with that 22 cents. I mean, I suspect the mother and the stepfather heavily. I suspect Jagger heavily. I suspect Sammy heavily. I suspect their neighbor, Hamburglar, heavily, and Mags and Kate. I think they were all involved. I really honestly do. Um, and I think that the dad and the grandfather were not involved, but they're all so closely tied that it's convoluted and it's hard to understand, and that in some indirect way or direct way that, yeah, of course they have some kind of connection. I don't think that that they did anything wrong, in my opinion. But I don't know, and I'll have to check out that 22 cents and see what is said. One of the abducted by Errol Castro mom passed before reuniting, and that is always so terrible. A lot of people failed Kylie, unfortunately. I think everybody failed Kylie. Like literally everybody that knew her. The grandmother, the grandfather. She didn't have any friends, obviously. I mean, nobody has gone to bat for her except for strangers in the true crime community, in my opinion. Okay. I found another video of her singing that I put in a short video a few weeks ago. I found another video of her as well. She had a lot to offer. She had an incredible voice. I love her like smoky, grovelly voice. And again, I think that that made her even more of a rare bird and even harder for people to like wrap their mind around this really young, cute, gorgeous girl with this heavy smoker in a bar kind of voice. All the truth seeking community. Yes. Oh, and I forgot Trinity's autopsy report. Wait, not forgot that Sifa says, oh, I got Trinity's autopsy report. That's exciting. But get this, they said, I can't share it. But if anyone wants to get their own copy, let me know. I'll walk you through it. It's free. Please. Yes. I was going to say, please email it to me. That's bizarre. They said you can't share it. Like, I don't think they can legally do that, but okay. I guess I'll just get my own. Jazz, the theorizing theorist, has an interesting alleged community members post. They put a stamp on it. Oh, okay. Let's highlight that one and sign off, you guys. We are at 10:53, so 7 minutes until this hearing. So we will reconvene at 1 or 1:30 this afternoon, hopefully. Thank you so much for joining me. Don't forget to drink your water, eat your fruits, your veggies. So important. High protein, high fiber. Get yourself relaxed and situated. Chill out, calm down, meditate, pray, do all the things that you need to do for you. Follow your heart. Do what inspires you. Just allow yourself to do whatever inspires you today, if you can. Don't do what you feel like you have to do. Do what you want to do. That's the coolest, isn't it? Just a license to just be you and follow your heart. Really, really, really what inspires you. Whatever that is. If it's frogs, if it's artwork, if it's music, just follow your bliss. Just try it for a day or try it for part of the day if you can. And on that, I'm going to say peace out, get your exercise and stretch, and we'll see you later today. Thank you so much for joining me. Sending you guys love and light, and hopefully something good in this hearing, this court proceeding today in the Idaho 4